What creepy symbolism lies within this creepy video right here? This is from iPetGoat. And I'm going to make sure you can hear me. Yeah, you can hear me. You can hear me. Let me just go get this link and go pop it on over to my friends. They're waiting on another video. Where do I get it? Oh, they're finding me. They will find me. Good evening, you all. So I'll just wait until people pop on over because they're in the other chat. Hello. 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 All right. There we go. You're all here now. You can hear me. I have an excellent connection according to YouTube. This is good. This is good. Took me long enough. My apologies. Shouldn't have taken that long. As soon as I find a link here and I can send it over to the others in the other chat. Oh my, this is just slowing me down. Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you tonight, on this very late evening at 8:43 p.m. on the West Coast? Let me just tell these folks. Somebody put a link down there in the chat room for me so that I can go put it in the other chat room because there's 300 people in the other chat room. Or 33 people, excuse me. It said 333 people. And this says there's... Oh, okay, there we go. Awesome. If I delete it, actually, they'll have to leave now, won't they? Let's get rid of that. Perfect. And perfect. All right, y'all. Welcome. I hope you're all doing great today. On this beautiful evening, you should be able to hear me really, really well. Seems to be good. Everybody's jumping aboard. Welcome, everybody. So, let me get beginning here. So, what creepy symbolism lies within this video and this animated award-winning film, actually, put out in 2012? There's actually several. iPetGoat is the name of it. iPetGoat 1 is really not even worth looking into. But iPetGoat 2 that came out in 2022 caused quite a bit of controversy. iPetGoat 2 is a 2012 Canadian animated short film written, directed, produced, and edited by Louis, and I'm going to totally butcher his last name, Lefebvre, Lefebvre. The film features a commentary on American society and politics, particularly the agendas of President George W. Bush and Barack Obama, with allusions to biblical theology and Egyptian imagery and post-apocalyptic settings. The title is reference to the pet goat, often referred to as My Pet Goat. The book children at Emma Booker School in Sarasota, Florida, read to President George Bush. And that would have been this one here. Remember this. So, iPetGoat comes to little kitties, the little ankle biters. So, iPetGoat is really interesting. And again, there's more than one. Most of you may be familiar with iPetGoat 2. I'm going to show you some of the clips and we're going to analyze it, but there's actually a lot more than just iPetGoat 2. There's actually a 3, and I just actually discovered a 4 and a 5. And friends, they just get creepier and creepier every single time. So let's actually look at the very beginning of iPetGoat 2 right here. And in the beginning, you'll see the goat who's locked in the box, right? You'll see strobe lights in the back blinking. Strobe lights, we know they use for types of psychological warfare, so to speak. The goat up here has a, what do you call it, right on his head? UPC symbol, right? Interesting, down here at the bottom, you'll see a chalk sketch. That's kind of like a detective with, when in the movies they draw the body on the ground, during, tragic scenes. So that's interesting. So let me actually show you a little clip of iPet Goat. And watch. So you see the $sign there on his ring. Is this playing? There it goes. So actually, let's go back there real quick, a little bit. Rewind it just a little bit. So you see down behind him on the chalkboard, they're playing Hanged Man, and someone's about to be the hanged man with one more letter left. And what they're trying to spell is evolution, but at the same time, it's also love spelled backwards. We have this symbol up here, a little creepy at the top. You see the evolution of man at the very top, and you see it's 1 minute before midnight on the clock. 1 minute before midnight. Isn't what the clock says now? 1 minute till midnight? Just gets creepier. I think you can hear sound on this. Turn it down a little bit, actually. Thank you, Holy One. And thank you, Gwen, for your chat cash. So look at the shark, and I was trying to interpret what that would be with that burning building behind. Is that the White House? Is that what that's supposed to be symbolizing? Or is it symbolizing what happened on the 1st? I mean, to the buildings on the 11th, not the 1st. Go back a little bit. So you see how it changes over from George Bush to Obama suddenly. Now, a couple things that I also want to go back and show you. Let's go back to the beginning. A little bit further. Bush in his little dunce hat, dancing around. Now, take notice to the checkered floor. You know about the checkered floor, right? And the symbolism of the checkered floor. We see that in Alice in Wonderland, do we not? Now, I'm going to tell you, and look at how he is dancing within a star. The actual reversed pentacle, the reverse pentacle. So the pentacle, the 5-pointed star, with 1 point upwards is for good. 2 points upwards is, of course, demonic. I tried to see what was marked here on the map. Now, the guy that wrote this and the guy that did this, he did a great job. Of course, he won awards, but you also see the little owl up there. We're going to listen to the guy that wrote this in a minute. But look at the states that are marked out. Isn't that Oklahoma up there? Right above Texas. We have down here, looks like New Orleans right there that's marked off. Then we have down there at Miami's marked off. And then it looks like up here, but probably New York is marked off.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Is that supposed to be Oprah? And look at how the lightning bolt is splitting the brain in half, right? Mind control. And then you see the lizard reptilian over here to the right that's licking it. And I don't know, can you see my pointer when I point? You probably can't. Darn. You can't see my pointer. Oh, what happened? Oh, what happened? It's not playing now. Oh, Lord, help us. Foot forward. It's not letting me do anything. Oh, Lord, what happened? Oh, there we go. So we have the owl. Thank you, C, for your chat cash. Now, check out this part again. Alice in Wonderland with the checkered board. Look in the background above her head, we see the rabbit, right? And towards the left, we see the stag. Stag and the horns are very often used in the paganism related to Satanism, actually. So we have both the masculine and the feminine energies present. We have the goddess rabbit energies. Rabbit also represents fertility. And we have the stag representing the masculine energy. Interesting that there's these little dummies here. This one over here on the left, right above my video, has the yin yang symbol, but there's 12 of them. 12 representing perhaps the 12 apostles, and who is she representing? It all gets dark, she gets outlined. The rabbit in the back lights up. She rolls the apple, and I can't catch what that number is other than the 707. And it brings both sides of the apple, the left and the right side, together as one. Unity, the lotus flower, spirituality. Obama sweating, he don't want unity, right? Cold day out there. Now look at the torn American flag, floating away, ripped apart. Now back in the background, you see what is supposed to be representation of the Twin Towers falling. Over here behind my video, oh shoot, there he is. Supposed to be like the little Antichrist demon. And then we have the boat coming, the Anubis boat. Anubis is the ancient Egyptian god of the death rites, the funeral rites. We have, of course, this guy who's totally still alive, if you ask me. We're going to find out about that in the future, I guarantee you. He is still alive. The oil dripping down into the ocean. We have right there the Statue of Liberty. I was just watching this really interesting series. Do I have it on this computer? Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to tell you what it's called real quick. It is called... Really wild. I'm going to do another live about it, actually, because it's so wild. Let's see if I can find it. It must be on my other computer. It's not on this computer. Darn. But I'll tell you next week. We'll do a live. But here you have the Statue of Liberty. Obviously. Giving birth. With the snake wrapping around the egg. The eye. There's the Anubis boat. Anubis, again, the god of the mummification. And here comes the Antichrist. With all his symbolism. And this is the banker. The big banker with his gold teeth and his gold. He represents the banking system. Totally bleeding people dry. Wouldn't you agree? Apple, of course, yes. Garden of Eden, as they just said in the chat room. Is that it? Yeah, that's that part. Let me move on to the next one. Now, I want to show you this next. I want to show you this interview here from the AJ show. This goes back a while. Remember, this video went out back to 2012 when it came out. But I want you to hear an interview from the guy that actually designed and wrote all this, because I dug deep to see if there's any connection that the person or this film could have with, of course, Freemasonry, Freemasons and such, and I found nothing. But I did find this interview, so listen up.
It doesn't matter. Anything powerful is going to freak people out.
And you should be able to hear that.
Go to these globalist program churches who are taught to love world government, and they worship 6-foot icicle preachers. So, of course, they're upset by it because it's moving, it's powerful. What gave you the idea? Because I've never talked to you before, but I feel like I know you just watching this. I mean, you've got Bush in there, animated. You even captured kind of his demonic spirit, you know, with the kids acting like he doesn't know what's coming. It cuts to Obama, and then he suddenly looks into the universe, symbolized by, you know, creation with a flower. Am I right there? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your view, your awakening.
Wow, that's a lot of...
I know the video is a little low, the audio.
The film came to me in a place of suffering. So it was all the things that I had lived personally, and you know, the materialism that I had experienced in different realms in my life that I had also contributed to. So not just put on me, but also, you know, I had gotten involved in it as well. So it was about that place of suffering, and it just felt like this film for me was a sort of lifeline, a way for me to go into my own fears. And I think that that's what I've seen in people, is it brings up a lot of stuff. It just kind of stops the mental programming, and then just kind of goes right viscerally. And people have a understand, because I went through the same questioning. I had those fears. I saw this, I kept seeing the Christ figure on his boat, and I was like, and that was what was coming up for me. It felt like I had to do this film, and I was resisting it because I was terrified in a way, because I know what the programming is, I know what the fear is, I know what Christians believe, and I know those fears intimately. So it was, but it was an invitation to go beyond those fears and go deeper into the question. And
so Heliofont, as you see, is obviously the website. I think the website's heliofont.com. And I want you to check out the other, not George Bush, definitely not him. The other part of this interview. Now, someone in the chat room says he's just a front man. He's actually just an artist who created it with goodness knows how many other people, as he explains in the interview. I don't get any negative vibe about him or anything like that. And here's the thing. As an artist, artists kind of zone out. They go into a trance state of consciousness. Just like mediums do, connecting with spirit, channelers do, connecting with spirit, and so forth. The trance state of consciousness. And that's what good artists do. They totally zone into a trance, and they come up with amazing work, right? So who's to say that this guy wasn't tranced out with a positive, again, attitude as to what he's going to... I'll play the other part of that interview for you in a second. And he's picking up on things that he had no idea what he was picking up on an intuitive level. Instead of jumping to the gun, thinking that maybe he's connected to the bad guys right away.
Blatant. And so I think this film is about taking that symbolism that they have and throwing it back in their face. Like, I mean, this is just getting ridiculous. And like I said, I started the process where I didn't know much about it, and I'm learning as I go along. What's wonderful is I've read so many articles and stuff on, conspiracy websites and other websites, and people that know symbolism, people that know a lot more symbolism than I do, and telling me about symbolism that I didn't even know about in my film, which is kind of, interesting. And so I just, I'm learning as I go along. But certainly, I think you know more about a lot of it than I do. I mean, I learned what I learned about conspiracy, actually. A lot of it I learned through the web, through people like you. At one point during when I had started making the film, I think I told one of your crew members, sometimes I actually tune in just to I'd get kind of down sometimes because I was all alone in my corner, and I felt like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm crazy. And I just kind of tune in and just have it just kind of boost me up to like, okay, yeah, this is important.
Sure, because
So whether that guy is actually connected or not connected, who's to say? But regardless, there's still tons of symbolism within this. It's going to get even more interesting when I show you the other parts, iPet Goat 3. But let me finish showing you part 2, because I know many of you haven't seen this before. Let me bring that back. There we go. We have the fire coming from his heart, the Antichrist. Over here we have the woman in sadness. She looks like she's from the Middle East. The little boy has one eye. There's the one eye symbolism. The little dude, he's like a little African dude. He's pretty awesome. This guy is drowning in goodness knows what with a sickle. The sickle being representative of farming, of course. This person here is waving the white flag for peace, and the demon comes for her. Now, the Antichrist is riding in. Thank you, Holy One, with infinite love and gratitude. Is riding in on a boat that is the Anubis boat, a representation again of ancient Egypt. This is the banker, again draining us dry, taking everything from us. Here comes the Antichrist again, and on the Anubis boat, birthing out of a cave, or out of the womb, of course, the womb of the earth. So can we identify who the Antichrist could potentially be? Look, we have the goddess Shiva, the goddess of destruction. All the fish representative of Jesus are jumping in the boat at the feet, worshiping the Antichrist. As the hand of God comes down upon whatever this woman is here. The heart. I don't know what her representation is. What do you think in the chat room down below, other than she's doing some kind of magic? Half naked. Oh, Lord. Oh, and look at that representation down there. Oh, let's go back. Of her getting her monthly cycle, if you know what I mean. I never noticed that before. I watched this a million times. First time I ever noticed that, right? There. Look at that. My Lord. So is the Antichrist messing with the women's cycle? Of course they are, with the pill and everything else. They've been doing that for a long time. That symbol in the background pretty much looks like the shape of DNA. Goddess Shiva. People turning to dust. And we know what that is, what that's symbolic of. The nuke. The serpents. Look at all the snakes. Very big representation of the reptilians. The kid's missing half his brain. And look at this kid rising up, this little boy rising up, but also appearing in a dress at the same time. Isn't that interesting? Now, this guy here reminds me of the Hopi prophecy, the Hopi Blue Kachina prophecy. And if you've never seen my video on the Hopi Blue Kachina prophecy, it's actually, I have a couple of them. There is one called the Hopi prophecy. I have another video called Warning April 13th, 2029. That's in depth about the Hopi Blue Kachina prophecy. And the Blue Kachinas wear the masks in ceremony. And the prophecy talks about the Kachina removing his mask at the dance. Is that what that's symbolic of? I'd say so. And there he comes again. The fire of the Antichrist coming through all the lotus flowers. And look at the symbolism on his face. We got the eye, we got the pyramid at the top of his head shining down upon his third eye, the third eye chakra with fire in his eyes. And look behind him. Oh, you can't see that. Let me move myself, actually. Can it well let me move me? I don't think it's going to let me move me. There we go. I'm going to move me up here for a minute. Now watch this guy. Let me go back a little bit. See behind the Antichrist? Watch. It's symbolic of the destruction of the churches in Christianity. Because that's a church behind him there. I'd say it's a church that just begins to collapse. In my predictions, you know about the predictions revolved around attacks on churches and churches being burning. We actually just had a couple happen within the past month. Let me pause that again for a second. Get myself back down into the corner. Get in the corner. Get in the corner. And continue. Now look at here as the Antichrist is coming through the river, which kind of looks like the Arctic, right, with all the ice. But up ahead, we're moving towards Egypt because look, you got the Great Pyramid and you have the three pyramids representing Egypt. At the same time, those pyramids have water all around them. That would be, to me, symbolic of course, floods in Egypt in the future. But also, you see the Great Pyramid now in the background falling and collapsing. Now, we went through this pretty quickly, but when you go through this little by little, I could spend an hour going through this little, what is it, like 15 minutes, not even 8-minute video, I believe it is. But Heliofont, that is the company, Heliofont. Now let me take you to this one. This is iPet Goat 3. Right? So, 3, which came out in 2021, I believe. I believe it was in 2021. So you got the bug. Of course, we always have the symbolism. Now, keep in mind that iPet Goat 3 was made by somebody else from the research that I did. It was actually made by a company in Turkey, which I find very interesting. I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it and I'll let you know. But continue watching this. The king with the crown. Of course, the Antichrist. Now, look at those troops. Do they not look like they are Asian? I mean, it could be wrong, but it kind of looks like the Chinese military. Now we have the Eiffel Tower. Now, the music that goes along with this one is actually obnoxious. I found this video with music from the first one, so that's better. But it's like dance music. And this whatever this thing is up there is dancing around the Eiffel Tower. Remember my predictions about the Eiffel Tower, and exactly that, the Eiffel Tower collapsing and falling. But now you got the V, right? They just pumped him with the syringe. We have the Phoenix delivering the Antichrist. Now watch this closely, because this one gives us more symbolism as to where the Antichrist will come from and who they would represent. It's creepy. There you go. This is who they're saying, kind of supposed to be. And what is he doing? Praying in the front of the group. What's that tell you? Then you got the UFO going over the Great Pyramid. Now, the Great Pyramid, the capstone, which you see floating on top, has been missing. And it said that the capstone was solid gold. But where'd the capstone to the Great Pyramid go? There's the Antichrist on his throne in Egypt, floating along his troops. Now look at this. This is interesting. The Ark of the Covenant is lifted out. But watch what they tell you. And remember, they're pulling this Ark out of the pyramid. So is one of the Ark of the Covenants in the Great Pyramid? I bet you it is. Now, there's supposed to be, I believe, 3 Arks of the Covenant, but look at what's in there. Look what's in there. Now, I can't read that writing, but I'm sure some people here can. But that's supposed to represent actually nothing to do with the Bible, but of course, the Torah. This is the original Torah. Go back to that for a second. This is the original Torah. What else did it say? It was written here, Muhammad is the messenger of God. Interesting. True gospel. Written is the messenger Ahmad. Oh, we'll go back. Is that the gospel of Barnabas? Isn't Barnabas one of the demons? Barnabas is one of the demons. Gospel of Barnabas? It contains the same verse. I didn't read what else that said. And look, we have what looks more like an eagle getting shot down. Is that a representation of America being shot down? And what's with the nightclub? Well, that's an American thing, I guess. They think of us as just partiers that just go to clubs. Democracy, freedom. Demo freedom. So is this telling us there's going to be something symbolic in the sky that's going to, which is actually even in all the prophecies, symbolic things in the skies. Now, I can't read any of that, but that's supposed to be a representation of the Torah. And look, so there's the golden cattle. The golden cattle was greatly worshipped by the ancient Egyptians. It represented the ancient Egyptian goddess Hathor. They used to have big statues of the goddess Hathor, and big golden cattle like that out in their fields to represent, goodness of growing their crops. The World Bank, and here comes this guy. This guy is supposed to represent Islamic or something along those lines. He chops off the head of the cattle in front of the World Bank. Now, isn't there a actual golden, one of those things, golden cattle, in front of one of the World Banks? Someone confirm that in the chat room. I think there is. So, cutting the head off the World Bank as this poor little person's struggling money on the ground. Look how the Israeli flag turns. That's not good. That's not good at all. They're showing them taking over Israel and taking over the sacred sites, finishing the temple that's in the prophecies. Who that dude's supposed to be. I wish I had a little plane like that. Now look at that. That flag changes too. And it gets even deeper. Wait until I show you the next two. So, I don't know what Hud is. Does anybody know what that is? Go back to that for a minute. Whose flag is that? I don't know whose flag that is. I know whose it is now. So who's that? Hud. Anybody know what that means? Hud? Is that a commercial airline? Not in America, it's not. Look at this chick's gonna stab the eye. And look, the cube. That cube is a representation of the planet Saturn. Did you know? And that's the people gathered around worshiping. And then they're showing it spreading throughout the earth. That's the belief of the Muslim religion, is what they're saying here. Seymour Studios, that's the producer of this one. Whereas Heliofact was the one that produced iPet Goat 2. And the guy I showed you the interview from. This is somebody completely different. And I tried to do some research. You can go on YouTube. They have a channel, Seymour Studios. And to make it even creepier, here's part 4. Part 4. So watch. Now, we'll start that again. So we have this guy, Iblis, Diablos, meaning Satan. What's that say down below? We will change everything. We will change everything. We will change people's lives. We will change the genetics of humans. Yeah, they already are. With their clones. Like the first, let me move my video up. It's in the way. So you got the tree of life again here. There's Satan in the background. Look at this, folks. You know what that is, right? That's HARP. HARP is used to control and manipulate the weather. And probably other things too, like people's minds. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. But yeah, that's all HARP. See, look, a little tornado in the middle. We will change the climate. We will use our satellites to change and shift the climate. And look at the lasers coming down. We know what those lasers are doing now, don't we, friends? We know exactly what they're doing. Lahaina, Chile, Texas. Creepy. The eye, the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati. Dude's creepy. Rothschilds tell the Bill Gates. Wait, did that just say I could go back? I missed that. Sorry. Rothschilds tell the Bill Gates, prepare the people. Rockefeller, you control the media. Actually, they control pharmaceutical companies. We are creating a false global warning. Like, that made no sense. And there we go with their little satellites again. We can't even look at the one in the background over there to the right shooting a laser down. And look, there you go. Global warning. Things can die. It's so awful. And look at all the fires on the globe. All around the globe, all the fires. Interesting, right? Kind of creepy, actually. Very, very, very creepy. In the all-seeing eye, God help us from the evil of the global families. Oh God, unite the nations against the accursed race. Let me pause that and move me up. Get me out of the way, sorry. Behold, we told thee that the Lord doth encompass mankind round about. We granted the vision which we showed thee, but as a trial for men, as also the cursed tree and the Quran, we put warning to them, but only increases their inordinate transgression. It's creepy. And look at the top of the globe. You got your Middle Eastern guy praying to Allah, kissing the globe. Interesting. So there you go. Again. So let me show you the next one. This is the final one. This one's creepy too. This is part 5. Same company. I Pet Goat. And look, the pentacle, but watch, they'll turn it upside down. See that? So that's the big misconception people don't understand quite often, is that the pentacle, so there you got the Antichrist. The pentacle, seen like that, represents man or woman with their arms out and their legs slightly apart, representing the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. But the dark evil ones take things like the Holy Cross and turn it upside down, just like they do with the pentacle. A lot of people don't realize that the Catholic nuns used to wear that star in a circle around their waist back in the 1920s and 30s. So there you got Putin pushing a button. Out comes the missile. Which, let me tell you, folks, I don't believe that's going to happen. I hold in the light that that is not going to happen. And, you know, we'll go back to the first one. I want to show you something in the first one I totally forgot. We'll go back to that in the middle minute. So what's that 40? I don't get what the 40 ants is all about. Anybody know what that's all about? Oh, shoot. Bring me back down. So there we got our Illuminati symbol. Sorry, I backtracked. So look in the back of this guy's head. He's got TikTok. He has Facebook in the back of his head. So basically showing that his brain's gone. And it's encompassed all by, of course, social media. They made Putin look pretty darn good in that video. Looks just like him. Interesting, right? So what's it say in his eye? It says something in his eye, but I couldn't see what it said. He's on his phone. Of course he's on his phone. And I don't know who this guy is standing in the background watching. He's creepy. There you go. You can see the Facebook, the TikTok. You know they're going to ban TikTok in the United States. That's up for proposal now. I told you that in my predictions last year. 40 ants. Let's see what this does. Oh, look, he was stopped. Now, does anybody know what that says? Because I don't know what that says. Somebody in the chat room, can they tell us what that says right there? Because I'd really like to know what that says. Nobody? Nobody? cursed tree. Are they saying the tree of life is cursed? And look, the Islamic symbol in the background with the Illuminati symbol at top. Remember, this was produced by a company in Turkey. So look, they have the families here. We got Soros, we got the Rockefellers, we got the Rothschilds. So at least they're on our side as far as getting rid of the elite families that have been controlling everything since ancient Egyptian times. It's a fact, actually. That's what's controlling everything and leaving our world so suppressed with these constant conflicts. There's the Eiffel Tower again. What'd I tell you about it, folks? It's going down. It's going down. I think it'll be a few years, but it's going down. Oh, airplane? So they showed the Eiffel Tower first. Think about that. Are they giving you a sign of what they're doing? What they're planning over there in Turkey, perhaps? Or Egypt? Because actually we got the pyramids in the background. Are the Egyptians planning this for the Eiffel Tower? And did you notice that plane there says Rockefeller on it? Creative, huh? Quite creative. You got this guy in a little lab coat, right? Mixing up a little you know what right there. You got this chick. I don't know who she is. A sad woman. People just collapsing. All nations against globalist families. Sunni Shia. So did you see that? That star there looks actually like the star almost at the bottom of the Statue of Liberty. And what's that say? Muslim Union. Interesting. So, I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's superhero. I guess they think they're superheroes and they're going to put that in place of the Bible? You think? Good luck with that. You know what's interesting, folks? I said a long time ago, back when I first started doing predictions on the radio show, actually, about that was the goal of the darkness. The one world religion would incorporate what they practice in Middle East, pretty much. Look, here you got Cernunnos, or Cernunnos, the god, ancient pagan god. You got the snake whirling in there. The reptilians, the snake people. You got Baphomet. That's, one of the demon gods they worship. And I guess this is the Islamic heroes coming in. And you notice that the wolf moon, there's got to be something with that. The wolf constellation. Let's go back to that. The wolf, see that? The wolf constellation. So what's that all about? And then the star falls down to the earth. And then what's that? See how it falls and takes over that whole area? Is that the area that's going to think they're going to control everything? They think they're the angels. They think they're the saviors. They think they're the only correct ones on the planet and everybody else needs to go. They're just as bad as the elite are, friends. It's probably all connected. They're just as bad as the elite. For sure. For sure. Like, totally. So, what do you think, friends? I have no idea what they are in that video. I have no clue. But here, I want to take you back, actually, to this. Where is it? Part 2. There it is. So, look in his eyes. Go back to that. Sugar me timbers. Go back. Am I on the right one? Yeah, I am. So, you see in the little kid's eyes here, when they go by, it says, warning, stock market crash. Stock war coverage. Wait. Oh, wait. Yeah, the plunge. Stock market plunge. Markets warning plunge. So we know that's coming, friends. We've known that for a while. It's been in my predictions. I said a long time ago, 2024, 2025. We're going to crash it all. But what's that? An attack on what there? Remember what I said about the attack I saw in Israel around one of the sacred sites? Isn't that what that represents right there? I'm not sure. Let's go back to that. I'm going to move myself up here into the corner. Go back down to that. Isn't that what that is? What is that? Right? Isn't that what that is? Antichrist. Look at her. She's got poison in her hand, right? She's got poison in her hand. And actually, oh, shoot. I keep doing that. This platform's all new to me, friends. It's all new to me. All new to me. So hopefully it's going good. My sound's good and all. Let's put me down there in that corner. There we go. Here we go. So like she's got poison. Sad. So is that because she's poisoning herself because her baby's gone? Or what's that about there? The beetle in ancient Egypt represents everlasting life and life after death. Look at the one eye. Now, you know all about the one eye and how all these celebrities have one right eye that's black. Isn't it the right eye? I forget which eye it is, but it kind of reminds me of that. Now, this guy goes and pulls the little bow off of this thing. I don't know what that's supposed to represent off the gun. It's kind of really, really creepy. This is the farmer's, I would say, because he's got a sickle and his, you know, as he's sinking, you can't see it behind my picture, but he's got a sickle that's drowning in the chemicals with him. So I'm going to take him as being a farmer. This person trying to get peace and that thing runs her over, just like what happened way back when. She's sad because she's not getting the peace she's looking for. And again, the Antichrist rises in on the ancient Egyptian Anubis boat, coming back from the dead like they are resurrecting him from the dead. They already resurrected him. They already know who their Antichrist is. And I bet you that the Antichrist is somehow connected. Well, definitely Middle Eastern. People think it's Trump and this. No matter what, the Antichrist is definitely of a Middle Eastern descent. Not no white dude. It ain't no white dude. Because just think of the Bible and everything in the Bible. It can't be that way. Sheba, the goddess of destruction. He's all zoned out, right, in a trance because the devil's taking him over. Still can't figure out what this little building is supposed to represent, besides this creepy woman in there who has her menstrual cycle. We're not going to show that again. It's not necessary. But that's what I have for you, my friends, for today. That's what I have. And there's a lot to pick apart in this video. You can, especially if we go back to the very, very beginning of the video, the very first parts, the goat, the control of the banking system, going back to Bush. There's so much symbolism in this little clip just right in here. The whole classroom. Symbolism of the burning building, the states that are marked there on the calendar. We have to keep our eyes on those states too. Oklahoma, right down there near New Orleans. We got Miami, Florida. We got up there in New York City, of course. And I think it's Oklahoma right there. I don't know what city that is on that map right there, but we got the owl symbolism. It's crazy. 1 minute till 12. Someone's about to lose a hanged man because they can't get evolution right. See, they can't get evolution right. And they threw love backwards. We got the dragon, actually. That's a dragon licking the brain. Dragons are still connected to reptilians, right? They're still kind of reptiles. I would believe they would be anyway. The brain being spliced in half, electrified through what? Mind control. And does that have symbolism to do with China right there with the dragon? Because dragon's a big symbol of China. George Bush, you don't really hear anything about baby Bush anymore. You notice that? It's kind of like he disappeared. Of course, you hear about Obama all the time because he's running everything behind the scenes. So, the 12 apostles or the 12 tribes of Israel, who's she representing? Is she representing the goddess Lilith, the dark goddess, Lucifer's wife, Lilith. So anyway, you can watch this, you can pick this apart and keep picking it apart and keep picking it apart. There's a lot to pick apart there, friends. A lot. So much. So much. So much. Oop. There we go. Anyway, my beautiful friends, thank you for showing me some love and clicking that love button down below. Thank you for the chat cash that you brought in. I couldn't do this without you. I wanted to test this equipment and get it working, test this new OBS platform to see if I could do live stuff and show you stuff while I'm live, get it working on my new computer. Seems to have gone really, really well, I would believe. Let me know in the comments what you think of the symbolism revolved around these, and you might not have been aware of the iPet Goat 4 and 5 that I showed you tonight. I wasn't until I was doing my research. I'm like, when did they show up? I never saw those before. And I find those to be even creepier. The last two I showed you, I find to be very, very creepy. It shows that there's an agenda, especially being they were produced in Turkey. Makes you really, really think. Things that make you go, I'm going to leave you with that because it is late and it is almost my bedtime, friends. I love you lots. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I will see you definitely for sure on Tuesday, of course, for Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update, where we go over world events and how they may or may not relate to predictions prophecy with lots of new predictions. And I have plans of lots of new predictions coming up for you Tuesday. You're not going to want to miss that. So if you want to vibe with the tribe, smash that subscribe and you will get accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth each and every week. So with that said, again, friends, have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. And remember to celebrate life, celebrate you, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you, and be bold. Be true, be kind, be you, because you're friggin' awesome. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste.